I dream I know deep up my feelings for you. Watch them grow, perceive, devote. This is the seed, light the show.
Shalom, shalom. I am going to do this video. It's a little bit different because I have the silhouette of my face because you can't really see it with the lighting very good. And then you have the beautiful ocean behind me. And I just wanted to come on here and talk a little bit about my grandma. She's been on my heart for quite a while. And I was very close with my grandma and my grandpa. He used to call me his pride and joy, and my grandma, I went over to their house a lot, and so, you know, I talked to her about things. She loved horses and trained horses, and I took after her, and I started training my first horse, I think when I was in 4th, 5th grade. I trained my first one, and then I continued thereafter, and I think I trained, I had Cece, and then I had Magic, and then Misty, and then I worked on Jasper and some of her other stallions, and then my quarter horse Frisian, whose name was Jazara, and I had help with her because she was a strong soul, and I really wanted to make sure I was doing it right, and I was in school doing my master's degree program at the time, and I really wanted to connect with someone who had more knowledge and just helping her through some of her fears. There was, you know, just an issue with her, and I wanted her to be grounded actually, and me to be able to connect with her. So yeah, anyways, a guy helped me with her. He did a fabulous job, but I loved horses just like my grandma. And when I participated in a Reiki experience, a session with my friend from way back when, we went to high school, junior high and high school together, and I connected with her over this last year, and she is a very spiritual woman, and I love her very much, and she helped me so much. And it was very surprising to me when she talked to me about my grandma coming to her and letting her know that she was with me, that I was not alone, basically, that she was here watching me and guiding me. And I can't remember how it all went, but I had brought something up about my grandma, and she said, you know what, it's very interesting, and she shared with me her communication with my grandma. And the interesting part about this is that, you know, in my past, I was very indoctrinated in just strict belief systems and did not expand my consciousness whatsoever. And today I question everything, but I don't stay stuck there. I observe and I step back, and I don't just limit what's going on through what I believe to be true, because I know that I don't know much of anything. I'm learning more and more every day. But I was thinking about, as a child, I'm an empath, and I basically embodied my grandmother's hurts and pains and emotions, and other people's. But, you know, she had experienced basically a death of her baby at about 8 months of age, and this was really hard for her. The baby died in her sleep in the bed, and sounds like what from people remember is that she smothered in the blanket, and my grandma ran down the street with her in her arms. asking people for help, and went from door to door, and people just kind of turned their noses and said, you know, they couldn't do anything. And I remember hearing the story, and it still gets to me today, and how it must have made my grandma feel to have that happen. And after that, I heard that my grandma was majorly changed, that she, her and my grandpa, that was their first baby, and my grandpa started drinking a lot, and my grandma became kind of a hoarder. She attached to so many things, like especially animals. She kind of withdrew from people and attached to any animal whatsoever. She loved horses, so when I was growing up, she had like over 50 horses, and her house was always cluttered. If you watch the videos on hoarders, that's what her houses look like. And she worked and she worked. She was an RN, and just kept herself busy. And when I was in about, I think, second grade, somewhere in there, she had someone who attacked her. And what ended up happening, I'll just keep the long story short, this man had attacked a couple other families before our family, and he went after my grandma's property. We had a 100-acre farm. He was in with judges, and they took the farm that we grew up on, and they took my grandmother's 2 group homes that she had paid off, and they told her that she was not going to be able to have horses anymore. And they used to follow us around, and they used to intimidate us late at night. They'd be outside of our houses, and they'd chase us off the road sometimes, and different things like that. I remember drawing a picture and coloring it of my grandma in the courtroom, and she, out of her mouth, there was a big bubble, and it said, "I didn't do it." And she had paid someone with a horse to take care, the payment was a horse instead of money. And the guy was supposed to clean the stalls of her, like 12 stallions at the time, because she had broken her hip when a horse ran into her. And instead of cleaning the stalls, the man turned her in and said that she was neglecting the horses. And anyways, it was in the newspaper and everything. And I remember as a kid, as a gymnast, being embarrassed that this was happening. I wanted to be a horse trainer, and I had mixed feelings, because I was like, how wrong is that to feel embarrassed that this is happening? I didn't want people to know about it. I didn't want it to ruin my chances of being a horse trainer. But on the other hand, I felt so bad for my grandma, and I was like, she didn't do this. And it was like she lost everything. And I'm looking at my life today, and I don't think that I've lost everything, but it sure has felt like that at times. When you lose your offspring to corruption, just like my grandma lost her 100-acre farm, her 2 group homes, basically all of her animals. They said she could have chickens, and that was about it, or birds, and she ended up getting a lot of birds, because, like I said, that's where she kind of escaped, was through the means of staying busy and accumulating things and having those animals. But I completely embodied those emotions and manifested that in my life, and it's like the karmetic circle has continued in my family, and the universe kind of pulled me away from those who I've always been close to, all of my friends, all of my family. And I'm right now in this time just seeking answers, learning to understand, to connect with my divine self and the divine creator in each of us. And I just find it very interesting that I think today people, when you connect with nature, when you get out and you take time to ground, it's like there's more energy today than ever before, and we're able to heal at a deeper level because of where things are at this time on this planet. And I think that manifesting is happening a lot faster. So whether I manifested that completely in my life, because that's how energy works, and today I am living that out, and I am completing that cycle, and I am detaching and letting go, and just completing any type of karma that just fulfilling it. I don't know how else to say it, because I don't completely get this whole thing, but it makes sense that I created a lot of this in my life, and so I'm learning to raise my vibrations. I'm learning to let go and to trust the universe as I raise up, and new things happen to me, new energies come into my life, and I begin to embrace all that I have and appreciate what's before me. And then I work on manifesting those things that I do want. I still have questions about what to manifest, and how to just possibly let go and detach and not create any new like karma. There's so much out there about this, and I don't have that part figured out, and so it's like I don't want to create anything that keeps me bound or keeps me to a place where I'm not able to move on from here when it's my time. I definitely don't want to keep playing around, but when I have that figured out, I'll just I'll go from there. And you know, we don't have to have it all figured out, and that's the cool thing about this. And so I'm just being mindful of different things, knowing what I'm focusing on. Alright, so my camera, my phone died when I was talking about mindfulness and what I focus on, and I just wanted to end this video. This is the next day, and I'm out in nature listening to the crickets, listening to the birds. I'm grounding, and I just wanted to end with some final thoughts about what I was talking about with just what I've manifested in my life. My grandmother, I truly believe that she is a guide, that she decided to stay and to help me out, and I'm so grateful for that. I got confirmation with my good friend, and as for living my life right now without my 5 offspring, and looking back into old patterns and ways of thinking and the emotions that I had, and knowing more and more about being an empath and what to do with that, healing those wounds and those traumas, going from a victim into being and standing as an infinite soul, a survivor, and knowing that my birthright is mine, and that the universe is conspiring to help me out, and that I'm not alone, gives me so much strength and courage and encouragement to just continue to step forward. I am the author of my story. I am not on autopilot. You are the author of your story. And yes, we are co-creators, but the external events in our lives don't have to affect our internal balance and our homeostasis and our condition within. We have so much more control, and meditating helps with that. Following our life's just interest, our purpose, our mission, our talents, our gifts, all of that. For me, I started doing cartwheels yesterday and some handstands because I was a gymnast for 15 years, and I thought, you know what, I haven't done this forever. I just want to be able to do this, and it's okay, and it's great to be joyful. It's great to vibrate at a high frequency, because that which we attract back is equal to the vibration we are putting off. It is a mirror. And so every time something happens in my life, I am looking at what is the life lesson, or what is it that I'm putting off. We had a run-in with some people that we knew over this last month, and this woman that I had conversations with, I thought everything was fine, but one day apparently I had gone downstairs and I didn't say something because I was going out the door, and she apparently brought up to my husband a day or two after that, what's wrong with Sherry? What did I do? And so anyways, I didn't hear about it until events were happening, and I told her, why didn't you come to me and talk to me? Because then we could have talked, because I have no clue what you're talking about. I don't know what day it was. I was probably on my way out to do something, and she's like, no, she goes, I talked to your husband about it, and I was like, how did I piss, Sherry off? And I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about, and had you come to me, that's what you should have done, is come to me and talk to me. And she's like, so I can't go to your husband and talk to him? And I'm like, no, because, well, for one thing, I didn't even hear about it until that day, and that's why I was addressing it. But she had this internal unresolved issue within herself, and so there was something in me that she didn't like, and our energies were not going well together. And so she was like wanting to get away from me, and I was trying to be as nice as possible, but I was using my voice and I was being assertive. I wasn't allowing her to walk over me, and I let her know it was an internal problem within her. That I said it very nicely. I just said, I don't know what it is. I never did anything to you, but there was an issue that you, for some reason, have with me, and I don't get it, and that's something you have to figure out. And that is what I'm learning more and more, is that we have to do that, and we do it from a heart space, and we recognize it. And she must have came into my life in order for me to be able to use my voice and to not allow people to walk on me, and it was good. And so I'm hoping that that is completely done now, that I don't need any more of her type of energy coming into my life. But if it does, what I do is I look in the mirror, and I try to look for those life lessons. So that's just something that I wanted to talk about, because manifesting all of this in our life and understanding the universal laws and how energy works is so, so important. And as young kids, we need to be there for our offspring, that we teach them about this, because you're not going to learn it in schools, and it's just not something at this point in time that's being talked about unless you go outside of the matrix. And so the more and more people who wake up, the more helpful it is, and we can serve one another and shine our lights to make this world the place that we want to live in, the place that we want for our offspring, for the animals, and just the trees and nature. And we have so many blessings. So I hope that this helps someone out, and I thank you for watching. I love you, and keep listening to those affirmations and the guided meditations, and go out and do what brings you joy. Whether it's yoga, whether it's swimming, exercise, whether it's playing music, drawing, just going out with friends, going to the beach. There's so many different things that different people find joy in, and find what moves you, and then from there your talents and gifts will begin to reveal. And that's what I look forward to more and more, as the veil is lifted from my eyes and I step forward out of my comfort zone, and I trust that everything's going to work out for my good. And my life mission's going to be fulfilled, and at the end of this chapter I'll be able to look back and go, wow, that was a cool ride. And from there, yeah, restoration is something that I want. So I will just trust that it's going to turn out, and I'm going to not just be, but I'm also going to do as I'm motivated to move forward, and the doors are open and the paths are laid before me. But I definitely have to sit with myself and be before I can do. I don't want to be like a wave tossed in the sea, and I don't want to be without direction. And the guides that I have for me, animal guides, ancestors, and messengers, some people call them angels, giving them permission, asking for help, and giving them permission to intervene on our behalf, on my behalf, is so important, because there's free will. And we do that daily by just saying, guides, I'm asking for direction, or source energy, divine creator, I need your help, I want your help, I'm asking for your help, and I give you permission to intervene in my life on my behalf in the way that you see fit. That's kind of a mantra I've heard from others, and I really like that one. And from there, you look for the synchronicities, you silence the voices, you silence the noise, and then you will get those messages and in the path, and that I will get those messages and the path that we need to go down, that I need to go down, and we'll end up crossing paths when the time is right. And so that'll be fun, and when we're vibrating at the same frequencies. So I love you so much. Thank you for watching, and you guys have a blessed day.